Today, I'm turning this simple dollar store birdhouse into spooky Halloween decor 2 different ways. From ghostly hauntings to creepy crawly spiders, I'll show you how to create both designs step by step. The best part? Almost everything I used came from the dollar store. Yay! Making these do-it-yourselves both easy and affordable. Let's jump right in. First up, we're making a haunted birdhouse with ghostly visitors. I started by painting this birdhouse all black. I didn't film that part, but it's super easy. Just paint the entire house, making sure to get into all the little nooks and crannies. Once the paint dried, I sealed it with Mod Podge to prevent chipping. Next, we're making the ghosts. I sketched out a simple ghost shape onto some cardboard and cut it out. I then traced another slightly smaller ghost for the top hole. Once that was drawn out, I cut it out as well. And remember, these ghosts don't have to be perfect, just a simple shape that gives them a fun, spooky vibe. If you're not comfortable freehanding the ghost, you can always print out a template to trace. By the way, it's much easier to cut out the smaller ghost if you use an Exacto knife. Now that we have our ghosts cut out, it's time to cover them. I'm using white felt from the dollar store. Since it was a bit sheer, I had to double up the felt layers to make sure they weren't see-through. I cut them larger than the cardboard shape so I could wrap it around. Next, I applied some hot glue to the front of the ghost and then placed it on the felt. Then I cut some small slits around the edge of the felt so I could easily wrap and glue the felt around each ghost and get a smooth finish. This step probably took the most time to complete. Once the front of both ghosts were covered, I glued some scraps on the back of each ghost, since it won't be visible anyways. When I finished this step, I double-checked to make sure that they would still fit in the holes nicely since they were a bit bulkier than before. Now, let's give these ghosts some personality.
I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
I cut out tiny circles for the eyes and mouth using black felt, and then I hot glued them to the ghosts. If you have tweezers, they're super helpful for holding these small pieces while hot gluing, so you don't have to worry about burning your fingers. And there you have it, our spooky little ghosts are complete and ready to go into their new home. Simply place your larger ghost into the bigger hole at the bottom and use your hot glue gun to glue it down. Then place the smaller one into the top hole and glue it down. Adjust as needed so it looks like they're popping out to say boo. Up this haunted house, I used my Cricut to cut out the word haunted and placed it on the roof. If you don't have a Cricut, don't worry about it. You can easily paint the word by hand with a small brush. That's if you even want to add this detail. And that's it for this haunted birdhouse. Now let's move on to our second Halloween design using this exact same birdhouse. For our next project, we're going for a spider-themed birdhouse. I started by painting the entire birdhouse orange. I wanted a warm Halloweenish base to really contrast with the black spider webs we'll add. Once the orange paint dried, I used a dry brush, a bit of black paint to add some grit and dimension. This step gives the house an aged, spooky look. I used the same technique to paint the roof, making sure not to cover it completely. Next, I used a hot glue gun to draw spiderweb designs onto the front of the house. I started with one large web on the front, making sure to keep the lines thin and even. Then I turned the house and added another web onto each side, covering most of the surface. After that, I repeated the process onto the back. After the glue cooled, I painted all the webs black along with the bird perches. This really makes the web details pop against that orange background. Be sure to get into all the little nooks and crannies so the web really stands out. Now let's add a little creepy crawler. I grabbed this plastic spider from a dollar store pack of spooky things and painted it black. To give it more dimension, I used a dry brush with brown paint and lightly brushed over the black. This really brings out the texture and adds some dimension and depth to the spider. To protect all of our hard work, I sealed the entire house, including the spider webs, with Mod Podge. Be sure to use a paintbrush, not a foam brush, and be gentle around the webs to avoid lifting the paint. Once everything was dry, I hot glued the spider onto the roof, and for the final touch, I added some fake spider webs around the house and stuffed a bit into each hole for that extra creepy effect. Whether you're a fan of ghosts or spiders, these make a fun and affordable addition to your Halloween decor. For more Halloween do-it-yourself tutorials, click this playlist right here, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and happy crafting. Bye, friends!